Just a friendly reminder that the opinions expressed on this show are not worth a Canadian penny, so disregard anything you hear that might get anyone in trouble. And despite some of the great ideas you may hear, don't try them at home. Go to a friend's house instead.
It's time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking. Well, I could afford one. And if I did just a little less drinking, time to put something between me and the sun. When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Yeah, well, it's typical.
That's normal.
Of,
It's Saturday.
It's Slamfire. It's how we do.
We're right on
How we
time, in
do.
other words.
Right. We're late, which means we're on time as per
Yay.
Slamfire standard operating procedure. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to it. Welcome to another COVID-19 microcast, the Apocalypse Edition. Joining us for this edition of the COVID cast is Ian from the Pepper Podcast and Canadian Patriot Podcast. And is there a third one you sometimes do?
No, this would be the third one here. That'd be
There you go.
He's now
Perfect.
becoming a semi-annual.
Semi-annual?
until, the,
He's
Yes.
an associate member of the cast now.
until
Yeah.
the crisis is over, and then well,
No, we'll still find reasons to bring you on.
Yeah.
We've actually heard you more popular on the show than I am, so I guess we'll have to have you back. So it's good that you're here. It's good that you look 12. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize you at all. It's weird. If it wasn't for your voice.
It's part of that gray man theory thing.
Yes, exactly. Look like everybody else, like the Men in Black. So here's the thing. Here's something that occurred to me today.
Uh-oh.
Last time I went out to the store to purchase Igloo food, I realized something that this pandemic may be over before I get into the real survival food, right? Like I've got my everyday groceries. I'm trying to keep keto. That's why I keep freaking out, keep going to the store. Mind you, I ain't going to the store no more. I went to the store yesterday, total different place. People are sketchy. The store has got tape all over the ground and you got to stand in boxes and stuff, and people are dumb and they're not listening to the employees, and it took a really long time to get my stuff. And I'm like, all right, I don't need to be here anymore. Staying home. So anyway, I got all this food and I may never get around to eating it. So I got a couple of choices. I can eat it anyway and get off of keto, or I can give it to a food bank when the apocalypse is over. I think Jeff Reese and I were talking today, and he brought that up. Like, food banks are going to make a mint when this is all done. With everybody has all this extra canned food that they don't normally eat. They're probably going to donate it, have it picked up, whatever. Or we can store it. So I want to talk about a couple of things, food storage and the kinds of food that we can store. So let's talk about rice storage, Ian, because some of the rice that I bought is already in a plastic bag and it appears to be, sealed. It's plastic. But then I've got 8-kilogram bags of jasmine rice, and that's not in a plastic bag. That's in some kind of like feed bag sort of thing, a woven material. And I doubt very much that's airtight. So let's first talk about that plastic bag. Is it good to go? If so, like, what's the shelf life on it? And if I store it in Mylar, which is one way that I'm familiar with, how much longer will I get out of it?
Do you put your cell phones in it before to help the rice out, or after?
You were watching that latest was a Terminator movie where she had the cell phone in the chip bag, wasn't it?
Oh my God! So
it's
glad you're here, Adriel.
Horrible movie. Anyway,
I'm here to ask the tough questions.
First of all, let's
Okay, let's start with the regular plastic bag. It looks like a good, thick, heavy plastic. It's sealed. As is, how long will that last?
Well, it's going to last a fair amount of time, longer than you would think, because after about a year, it starts to lose some nutritional value, but it's still perfectly edible. And we've had, in the house here, we've actually rotated through some rice that was just in that regular plastic bag, probably that yellow and white one that you see at the grocery stores.
Correct, yeah. No name, whatever. Long grain.
And I mean, you're talking 4 or 5 years before it's really oxidized to the point where it's inedible. And even then, you can cook it up and mix it in with some dog food if you really had to. I mean, you can still use it, just maybe not for you.
Right. Okay. And that's in the regular manufacturer's packaging.
Yeah, and so what's going to kill it more than anything else is light, heat, and then oxygen, right? So you mentioned those mesh bags.
Mhm.
They're going to have air filtering in and out of them. Every time you move the bag, you're basically, it's like a set of bellows, right? You're like sucking air in and pushing air out. And, the fresh oxygen is what's going to put the food off faster than anything else, right? So if you keep it in a cool, dark place and keep air from flowing through it, it's going to last an incredibly long time.
Even in that mesh bag.
Yeah, but again, then you got to worry about moisture, and then you got to worry about mold and everything else. Because you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. Same thing. You got moisture issues. So if you got it in the cold room and it's sitting there and it's damp as can be, well, yeah, 6 months later you're gonna have moldy rice, right? So
Okay, because that's the thing. I don't know what the humidity level in my cold storage is, but I'm assuming it's higher than the rest of the house. So it's cool. It's dark, but it may be moist. So I need to get that in Mylar.
yeah, because I mean, look at Adriel, for example. In wintertime in Edmonton, it's like what 0% humidity.
Yeah.
But he's used to it and he doesn't notice it.
Calgary is the only place where I've had to apply chapstick in July.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, right? And most of the Northwest Territories, for example, is technically a desert climate. You wouldn't know it, but it is for precipitation rates. But anyway, so in your end of the woods, you're not going to notice that it's high humidity because you're used to it. You've been there your whole life, and you don't think of it as high humidity, but it really is compared to most places in North America. So yeah, you got to get that in Mylar right off the bat. So the faster you get into the bag, the longer it's going to last because you don't want that oxygen to degrade the food. So you did mention Mylar, so we'll cover that off first. So they come off in a few different sizes. This is called a 1 gallon size. This is about 16 inches by 10 inches. And for the listeners, and they come in 1 gallon, 2 gallon, I think all the way up to, I think this is a 5 or 6 gallon bag. This is just massive for the camera. I don't know if you can even see anything beyond that.
Everything is completely beyond a gray shield.
Yeah, so that gray shield there is actually big enough to hold an entire bag of rice, no problem.
An entire bag as in how many kilos?
As in 10 kilos.
10 kilos, okay.
Yeah, easy 10 kilos. I put 8 kilos bags in there, and I have room on the sides, room on the ends, and everything else. Okay. And so when you do put those in the bags, I'm going to use the small one to demonstrate. So basically, no matter what kind of size of bag you have, you want to throw all the bits that you throw in there, whether it be just, maybe this is good for beans or just individual portions of rice that you may want to sell.
I was going to say, why don't you actually do smaller Mylar bags and then put it in a larger Mylar bag, because you can...
Double wrap it.
Double wrap it. Not only that, but...
At college.
Yep. Protection.
It's an extra layer of protection, right? But yeah, so also that way you don't have to because these aren't resealable, right? So as soon as you crack the seal, you're better off having a smaller package. And so if you divvy the bag up into smaller size bags, do them up. You want to have as little air as possible. So you want to fill it about 3/4 full in the bag.
Suck them out.
Yeah. Well, you can't. Unfortunately, I have a vacuum sealer right over here. These don't work. Unfortunately, they don't get hot enough to seal the bag, and they don't suck the oxygen out before it actually goes to the sealing mode because I guess they'd call it the Mylar is just too thick, right?
Okay, so what do you seal it with?
Well, you squish out as much air as you can, and
just
then
by hand. There's no sucking the air out with a machine. Just push all the air out you can by hand.
Those vacuum sealers to make those work, you need that plastic stuff that's got little ridges in it.
Yes,
so it can squeeze.
It looks more like this. So this is
that's the vacuum seal bag. Yeah,
yeah, and so it's got a smooth side on one side and ridges on the other, and it just doesn't work for the Mylar.
So with the Mylar, we're not worried about mechanically vacuuming the air out.
Nope. So you basically roll it as best you can to try and squish it over, even if you squish it over like this, or if you try and just squish it as flat as you can. Then you do what I do: run to your daughter's room, steal her hair straightener, and then then you're good to go. So don't judge me with the color. Anyways, put it to the medium setting, and basically all you got to do is I start off. My little technique is just crimping off one side with this, just to get it finished off over here. Squish out as much air as you can, and if you get it hot enough, you should be able to squeeze and then run it right along the top, just like that, fairly quickly. Don't stop anywhere because it will start to melt fairly soon, and then you'll have it sealed. And as long as before you seal it off, you drop in either a oxygen absorber, which might be hard to see, but they're like a blue and white package, and they absorb O2, which is what degrades food. Or you throw in this, which is a pocket hand warmer available at the dollar store.
Sweet.
Throw in one of those. The only caveat I have to say about that is the oxygen absorber is the better choice because it doesn't heat up, whereas the hand warmer will heat up with whatever oxygen is in there, which of course will expand the bag and you might break the seal. But if you squish out as much air as you can, it should be okay. It'll heat up for a while, then it'll cool off and it'll shrink right down again. But anyways, the whole idea is you want to get rid of the active oxygen in the bag. So once that's taken care of, then your food's going to last up to, this is a big caveat, but up to 20 years type of thing. I mean, safely 5, right? It's not dehydrated, so you haven't got rid of the moisture in the food. It's, not 100% of the oxygen's gone, but I'd say an easy 5 years without even worrying about it. 10 years, you could probably get away with it, no problem. So we've had some buckets. They're just the next thing we're going to talk about, but just some buckets with a hand warmer, and we were good for 5 years, no problem.
Sweet.
So, you want to talk about the next way to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Well, hold on. I've got a question about sealing the mylar.
Yep.
Do I trim the mylar bag down, or do I fold it? And do I have to seal it at the edge where it's open, or can I seal it on a fold?
Okay. First of all, yeah, you can pretty much seal it anywhere, as long as you can reach it with the burner. So basically, if you can squeeze it right down there if you really want to. But if you want to reuse the bag, you might as well just seal it along the top, and that way, if you slice this off, you can just go down a bit and then seal the next bit. Now, these bags do come with a little pre-cut little notch to rip it open, but I mean, we have pocket knives; we can still open it any way we want, right?
Right.
Yep.
So I would just squish out as much air as you can, and then seal it along the top, and then that way
seal
you
it along top. Okay.
you might get
Roger
extra
that.
use out of the bag later on.
Good.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
All right, cool. So the next way to seal it off would be the idea of using a bucket and a gamma lid, or just even a regular lid with a O-ring. So again, the whole idea is you want to keep the oxygen out. Costco does sell gamma lids. We have a local store here called Industrial Plastics and Paints. Gamma lids are not cheap, so you're better off maybe just to get a regular lid with a rubber seal on it. And again, the whole idea is you want to fill it as full as you can. This one, not 3/4 full, just to keep the oxygen out. Hand warmer is more than sufficient. Just throw in your hand warmer, seal it off. It'll bulge out a bit. It uses up the oxygen, then it'll shrink right down. It'll actually suck in a bit when you're all done. And that one's good for an easy 5 years.
And this is just a food grade bucket that has a sealable lid.
Yeah, food grade, meaning on the bottom you'll see a recycling label that says HDPE2, and if it's got the number 2, you're good to go. It's basically
say that again slowly.
HDPE is the type of plastic it is.
Yep.
And then there's a little recycling, little triangle with 3 arrows around it. That's a recycling symbol. And as long as it's got the number 2 in it, you're fine to go.
So that's food grade. So there's nothing going to leach out into my food.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can call some of the local restaurants.
Yep.
The ones that are still, there's one still operating. They they have a bunch of them sitting around.
Like bakeries especially have tons and tons of buckets. You'd be shocked at how many places do have tons of buckets available for you.
And they're willing to give them away.
Yeah.
They're also good for collecting brass, by the way. Just letting you know.
Mechanical reuse, right?
Yeah.
All right. So then, of course, I think, Kelly, you mentioned the other way. You could throw them in some glass jars.
Yep.
That's certainly one way to do it. The whole idea is to get the rubber seal around the jar lid so as you can fill it right up. You won't have as much luck getting a hand warmer to work in that one.
No.
You might even crack the glass if you're not careful. But you can get smaller than this oxygen absorbers. These are like the 500 mil they're called. Yep. But you can get like super tiny ones. So you can just throw them in the little jars, and that'd be just as fine as anything else.
All right.
And so as long as keeping a cool, dry place, good to go.
Okay. Now, what can we store?
Okay. Well, again, moisture is a bit of an enemy. So rice is great because it's already got most of the moisture out of it. Anything that's been dehydrated. So if you have a Excalibur brand dehydrator or something like that, can actually take a lot of the moisture out of food. You can store fruit even if you really want to. There is home canning ability out there, like as far as like actually making tin cans, but that's pretty, and I guess involved more than anything else. I don't think most people would be into that. But
if I was making my own jerky,
yep,
I could store this jerky with oxygen absorbers in the mylar.
You probably could, yeah. And as long as it's fairly dry and you've got lots of either salt or sugar in there as a preservative, then you'd be fine. Because again, basically you're keeping the oxygen off of it and you're keeping it from getting too moist. Honestly, if I was going to store jerky, I would store the bags that we just mentioned there, the vacuum seal bags.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I don't even know what happened to that one I had around here. But anyway, yeah, I would just use the vacuum sealer for that. And then, because you're going to dig into that fairly soon too, right? You're not going to let it sit 5 years. But you can store everything from, beans, pulses, rice. A lot of people store wheat. And if you're going to store wheat, the better idea is to store like whole grains of wheat, not the crushed up flour, because it starts to oxidize and go rancid faster as soon as you crack it open. But if you leave it in wheat kernel form, then it'll last a heck of a lot longer, like 10 years plus.
Okay.
But that's difficult for most people. I'd just leave it with the rice idea.
Okay. What do you suggest to have with the rice? I mean, if you had to, yes, you could just live on rice and water. But my God.
Well, you'd be diabetic by the end of the pandemic, right? So yeah, there's a problem. So you want to offset it, right? For example, like if you have canned hummus and rice, you actually have a better, more complete meal than anything else because you got the protein and the carbs to go with it. You're not going to be
Canned hummus is a thing? I didn't know canned hummus was a thing.
canned hummus is actually a delicious thing. Available at most, like Superstore, for example, has the international aisle. If you go in there, you'll see canned hummus. So as long as you got some olive oil, salt, pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder, and if you have lime juice, great. Like even real lemon, little squeeze in there. It's fantastic.
You do with the olive oil, just literally pour it onto the canned or the hummus?
No, you pour it in and mix it in just with a spoon. It'll absorb right in. You won't even see it's there.
So you pour the olive oil into the hummus and stir it up.
Yep. Like so, you
And salt and
basically
pepper, you said?
take the hummus out of the can, throw it in a big bowl, mix in all that extra stuff: salt, pepper, garlic powder, lemon juice, and olive oil, and it'll just mix right together and come up with a nice whipped hummus that you get out of the store.
That's how it's made.
Yeah.
That's how hummus is made.
Yeah. You can make your own hummus if you have like canned chickpeas. You can literally make your own
Yeah.
hummus following the exact same thing. You just add the canned chickpeas into a blender, and
Okay.
you can do the exact same thing and make your own hummus.
I bought canned chickpeas last time I went on a big igloo spree.
Well, there you go. If you have a blender, you're good to go.
Yeah, so take the blender, put the canned chickpeas in it with olive oil and salt and pepper, and boom, I've got hummus.
Yep.
Yep. And,
Oh.
and to taste after that, you can add whatever you want. You can make your own
Yeah.
hot pepper
Neighbor.
hummus. Yeah. Neighbor.
Hot
Maybe-
sauce.
if you-
Yeah.
skin down your neighbor, do your thing. But okay, so there's also the canned meat idea. I mean, we talked about canned chicken before, and yeah, I'd go with that. I mean, there's all sorts of frozen food still out of your freezer. You're going to be eating out of the freezer for quite a while you're locked in the house, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
People have access to wild game, so much the better. I mean, you can make your jerky, like you said, as long as you have a big supply of salt, you can make a lot of jerky.
Yeah, I could never see myself eating a can of corned beef or Spam on its own, but I would definitely grind it up or mash it up and throw it in with the rice.
Yeah, no, it makes everything edible, I think, if you can dilute it a bit, right?
Yeah.
And just fry the living daylights out of the Spam if you had to. I mean, I know. So actually, one of the thing you mentioned there is once the pandemic is over and you've kind of gotten over this and you decide what you're going to do with the food, one other thing you can do is maybe think about donating it to your neighbors that don't have a job still, because the recovery won't be overnight either,
Yep.
right? So the recovery is going to take months economically. So some people might still be able to work, and maybe you're back to work and you're back on keto. Well, maybe just think about either trading it off or selling it at a steep discount or whatever. You can always do that. I did notice that Costco stopped taking returns on rice already. And toilet paper.
Why would they ever take any of it anyway?
Yeah, I just I did kind of laugh because normally they would take returns on everything, but they got a big sign out now. I did my own COVID run, as we like to call it, and so and kudos to them for actually taking some steps to keep the spread down, because they're like making people waiting in line keep separated. They've got the plexiglass penalty box, like you mentioned there. You have to sit there behind the plexiglass until they're ready to ring you out, and yeah, they're actually making some effort to keep people separated.
Do they have toilet paper?
They did. They had toilet paper and
What?
paper towel.
What?
Well, like so
Crazy.
when they make toilet paper in country, that's pretty good. It's just I think maybe the only thing they're missing is the wrapping. That's about it.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so Ian, what did we miss?
Let's see here. As far as storing grains, I think that we covered up pretty much the major methods of doing it.
Okay.
My
So-
preferred method of storing grains is to distill it and put it in liquid form.
Yeah,
That's a good point too. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could actually make sake from the rice. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening.
Yeah, so if you have the rice and maybe a couple of raisins to feed the yeast a little better, because just like honey doesn't make good meat unless you give it a little bit extra food, you can turn rice into sake quite easily. And there's lots of YouTube videos on that. So that's one way to get rid of it.
Interesting. Okay. Good to know. If this goes on, we're going to talk more about that. So I'm already out of scotch, and I got
Oh.
one cigar left.
One cigar. I thought it was two this morning.
Well, I
Holy-
smoked one after I sent you the photo.
He's going through
No, I think that
an emotional thing for
Ian,
him.
you were saying that when we get to the end of this and we're all left over with like a whole ton of rice in our houses, that's what we do. We pour it into the bathtub with some raisins, put a cover over it, and just make some toilet wine, make some toilet sake, bathtub sake. Yeah.
Just go crazy. Yeah.
Tub sake.
You will after you drink it. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe after or before the things get really bad, you can go down to the local Ubrew wine stores or whatever and get a couple packets of yeast so you can get going on that sake plant or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So food grade buckets, seal them airtight, oxygen absorbers, Mylar, seal it with heat. Also put an oxygen absorber in there first. What about beans?
So
Go
are you
ahead, Kelly.
talking about? Are you talking like the dehydrated, or are you talking about like canning?
Yeah, like if you go down to the superstore aisle, or the international foods aisle, or whatever, you can see the you'll see like not mung beans, but there's like lentils. That's what I'm trying to say. Lentils by the little container. They come in a little plastic container, and those are dehydrated, right? There's pretty much no moisture left in those. Those will last pretty much forever with no oxygen attacking them, right? So that's fantastic. Now beans in the can, like Heinz, 99-cent beans in tomato sauce or with
No,
pork.
no. God, no. There's 33 grams of carbs per can.
Yeah, which will keep you alive, won't keep you on keto.
Yeah, like get kicked out fast.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the lentils. I'm talking about the dry stuff. So, what do you do with that when it's time to eat it? How do you even prepare those things? Like, I always thought that was like food for food.
Our favorite is. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's almost like rice. So for every 1 cup of lentils that you have, it's 1.5 cups of water, and you just boil the shit out of it, basically.
Or you can amp it up a bit, and make some Indian dal, which is like basically
is fantastic. Yeah,
lentil bait. So it's you're making the equivalent of hummus with lentils and adding some Indian spices, and it's kind of like Indian version of refried beans. Kind of think of it that way, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
So you boil it and then you blend it with spices?
Yeah.
I have a recipe for it.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. I don't have any of these lentil things that you speak of. I need to
you can also do it with split peas
supplement.
too.
Yeah, they are dirt cheap. Like amazingly cheap compared to even rice, I think.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. What's with the flood of friend requests? Are you guys getting friend requests like on the hour?
I'm getting random people asking me for guns. Does that count?
No.
No, I think it might be for you. So just to go in, so for Trevor was recently featured in the re-release of Downrange.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody you're famous. Come on, everybody everybody wants to be Trevor's friend.
TV,
well, I'm definitely
TV
taking
personality.
Yeah.
This guy's holding a #1 Mark III with the bayonet attached. Fixed, sorry. So hell yeah, I'm accepting that friend request. Okay, cool.
So
anybody else got anything else for Ian?
yeah, I want to actually talk to Ian about canning. Like, I know that a lot of people. So
As in bottling? Because I never understood that. Like people say, I'm going to can my moose this week, and I go over and they're boiling bottles. Why is it called canning if we're actually bottling?
Well, you're bottling meat. You're canning like stuff that doesn't require pressure canning. So
right. So like those lentils.
Yeah.
Anyways, so do you do it?
Actually, I would like to say I do it, but in reality, my wife does it.
Okay.
But I do watch it. So by osmosis, I've learned a little bit.
So it's something I used to do as a kid. We always beets, peas, or all the vegetables. We would actually can them and that. But I don't know how long that stuff lasts for. So how long is it safe to actually? Once you've prepped, once you've canned it and put it into your cold cellar, how long is that going to last for?
Well, so far we're at the year mark pretty much for the canned bear we did last year, and it's still good. So actually, just personal plug, if you go to Canadian Prepper Podcast, episode 36, Canning and Preserving, that is a good one. It's actually, believe it or not, it's our highest downloads.
Everybody wants to do it.
Yeah, everyone wants to do it, but nobody knows how, right? And it's not something that you went to grandma's house and learned before they died, and now everybody's kind of thinking about it, but nobody knows how to do it.
So it's a little expensive to get into, but once you actually do get into it, then it's not all that expensive.
Right? Then it's just the little seal things for the lids, the bottles you use over and over.
Yes, the lids are the only part that's not reusable. Everything else can be reused. Now, if you're canning meat or something that actually has the botulism aspect to it, like whether it be butter, you can actually can butter too. You want pressure canning, which requires a pressure canner, which is the expensive part, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just canning stuff like pickles or I'm just trying to think of like jams or whatever, you can use what they call the water bath method. And that is basically very cheap. So that just requires like an aluminum or steel pot, the jars, and then just, a burner. That's it.
Right. And then, seals sucks. Yeah. Anyways.
So
very popular
about a
here.
year.
Oh, go ahead, Kelly. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it's very popular here, Kelly, because a lot of people bottle their moose.
Yeah.
It's you open the bottle and you eat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You don't have to cook. You throw it in a pan and warm it up. But I mean, when it comes out of the bottle, it's ready to eat. And if you shot an old bull who's old and stringy and tough, it's the best way to make them
tenderize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the old school Instapot, right? And that's exactly what it does, because it cooks it to such a high temperature and under some pressure that, it's going to be very tender and keeps for a long, long time.
Right.
And if the power goes out, you don't have to lose it all, right?
Yep. And my deer meat right now is at Kelly's. She's bottling up for me, and I'm going to go over there and she'll make me dinner.
No,
I don't have to. I don't
social
have to.
distancing.
This is such a weird.
I really am.
I've heard of and seen people like jar moose and deer and that kind of thing. I've just never been at all interested in any of that. It's just such a weird thing to take something.
You make jerky and you make
a ton
pepperettes and that of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But to take meat out of a jar and then just start gnawing on it, it's like, oh man, this doesn't seem right. I know it's already fine, but...
Back in the day, it was pretty much required, Adriel.
Yeah.
Like, it was a quick and easy way to store it. You didn't have a lot of refrigeration space. You shot a big moose, man. Bottling it and giving the bottles away to your friends and family was just like it's part of the Atlantic Canadian culture.
Same thing. My mom immigrated over from Germany, and they were like in the middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan, on a farm, and that's exactly what they had to do because they didn't have money to afford, fancy canned meat, so they actually canned their own. And you don't require a whole lot. Like if you think about it, it's no different than canning meat in a tin can, but it's just with glass.
Right.
And it's just cheap to do once you get set up, and it's amazing. You don't need a whole lot of things other than the spices you want to throw on the meat. So you can actually just throw like hunks of salmon in the jar. Same idea, as long as you keep the lid clean. Throw it in whatever you want. So a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and you're good to go.
And how do you not get the botulism?
That's the temperature aspect. So with the pressure canning, it gets to a higher temperature than if you do the water bath method. And so by getting to the higher temperature, which I think is like 175 or something like that, it's a higher temperature than water bath. I can't remember the exact number. And anyways, it prevents the botulism as long as you pressure can it for a certain amount of time, which boils down to about 90 minutes under pressure.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you can also do things like, so if you're in New Brunswick, you can do things like blueberries. You can, what's popular? What
raspberries, blueberries, strawberries.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about
not
the West
blueberries
Coast.
so much.
So the West Coast is the blackberries out here, and we have two species. We got the native species, which is like super tiny, and then we've got the introduced Himalayan blackberries, which are about the size of your thumb, and they're just invasive like you wouldn't believe. So tons of blackberries.
Easy to get those and do some canning.
We
as long as you got lots of sugar.
We have so much Saskatoons out here. That's what people do out here. Saskatoon berries.
Used to do just blueberries in New Brunswick down south.
And between the sugar and the actual like naturally occurring sugar in the fruit, it's going to keep forever. Like get 10 years out of a jar of jam, I'm sure, without trying too hard. So
So, anything else? Anything else that anybody's watching wants to know about? What types of food and how to prep it?
One person had mentioned, what about adding salt when you jar it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty much what we do all the time. It's not just a preservative, but it also lowers the boiling point a bit, so it actually gets to boil faster. But it's more for the spicing and the preserving aspect. But yeah, salt's never going to hurt. Salt and sugar are the two main preservatives out there, right?
Yeah. Do you ever use like a curing salt rather than a regular salt?
There is a pickling salt out there for certain recipes that call for it. But honestly, we just use regular salt for meat, and then pickling salt I think comes into place with like when you're actually making pickles and stuff like that. Like if you beet pickles or regular cucumbers, but you'll have to ask the wife. I don't, I don't know about that
She
part.
should come on.
Yeah, she should. She won't, but she should. She should. But,
So there's some things that I was talking about prior to us starting. I just recently got a couple of friends of mine I bought some stuff off of them. So I bought this one's called a Maple Road Tree Pea. So it's maple syrup. So I got a lot of maple syrup, and then I also have a friend that does honey. So honey doesn't spoil; it doesn't go bad at all, and neither does actually maple syrup. So instead of having regular sugar, I'm just going to, if anything happens, just use this stuff because I can sweeten, or I can bake, or I can do whatever with this stuff.
Just eat it with a spoon.
yeah. Yeah.
But
when you're feeling down,
it's going to last a lot longer than sugar will.
Well, yeah, because it's mainly sugar. But that's the thing is, it's high sugar content, so it will last a long time. And as long as the air stays out of it, you're good to go. Maple syrup making your own is a thing too. I mean, especially in Ontario there and the East Coast, you guys have maple trees. You can tap it, but you need a lot of energy to make it. Out here, we have like a lower content sugar maple than you guys do, and I think it's about like 50% less sugar. So we require like 60 gallons of tree water to make actually like a gallon of maple syrup. It's crazy.
4 to 1.
Yeah. So if you have to boil it down, it's a lot of energy required.
Somebody's asking how long meat will last if it's canned.
Easy year. After that, just judge it. I mean, as soon as you open it, you'll know if it's bad. But no, I mean, and even if you're not sure, then feed it to the dogs. I mean, don't waste it. But it's still an option. But I'd comfortably say a year, which by then you should have another deer in your freezer by then anyway, right?
Yeah.
One would hope, yeah.
One would hope. But by the way, before I forget, Trevor, you can make your own salt too.
What?
Yeah. So you can instead of just diving down to the deep mines in Windsor, Ontario, you can actually just go to the ocean, find a clean patch of seawater. Just don't go around the shore. Get a 5-gallon bucket of seawater. Just gently heat it up, evaporate off the water, and 5 gallons of seawater will get you about 2 pounds of salt.
What?
All
right.
You can actually go and get some dulse as well. Boil it up.
Dulse. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. I like that
I
stuff.
love it. It's actually for survival. It's fantastic because it's going to have. It has so many nutrients in it, and it has also your salt content as well. So, and it's easily portable. It's light. You can make ice cream out of it. Stew.
Lots of trace minerals. Yep.
It's perfect.
Cool. All right, good. Well, let's wrap this one up. We're scheduled to do another one Monday or Tuesday. We'll let you guys know. We'll post on
Have you guys done any
Facebook.
Have you guys done any gun stuff in the last couple days?
Thursday, man. Thursday.
Thursday
We
do the gun stuff. This is
right.
Food.
This is the COVID stuff. Yeah, it'll take you 5 or 6 episodes, but eventually you'll understand the format.
I did some COVID stuff. I stuffed some mags. Just as we were on the show here, I stuffed all the mags I got.
Perfect. Oh, nice.
That's important.
All of them?
Not all of them. Not all of them. I got a bunch of polymer 5-round pinned mags that I'm not stuffing at all. No, not bothering with that.
LER mags, different story.
Yeah, those are all full, and all my pistol mags are all full. Which I'm going to use them eventually. Like it's prep for going to the range for the next time because now I won't have to load those mags. They're already preloaded. That's
right.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with keeping magazines loaded. Springs get worn out by using, not by compressing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's been very fascinating to watch people surprised when they see how convoluted it is and how much trouble it is to actually get a gun license. They were all expecting to go this weekend and get a gun, by tomorrow, and it's like, no, that's not going to happen.
Can I buy it now and take my course later? Is a question that's being asked.
It's like no. And actually, that's why I mentioned that earlier, is because I actually had a guy corner me as I was leaving the gun range earlier this week, and he actually was like, "So, how do I get a gun license?" I'm like, "Dude, you're kind of making me uncomfortable. You want to like social distance a bit?" And he was like, kind of frantic. He was like, "So, how do I get a gun?" And like, "How do I?" I was like, "Dude, you got a 6-month wait ahead of you. If Mirror Machine was open, you'd have a 6-month wait." But it's actually it's kind of crazy. Like,
this is
Go ahead.
This is a wake-up call for a lot of people on a lot of fronts.
Yeah.
It's making me realize that my preps were better than some, but pathetic by most standards. People who weren't anti-gun that kept putting it off, and now they're regretting putting it off.
Even people who are anti.
Oh
are
yeah,
now
well,
actually switching
you know,
over.
frack them. Don't care. Screw you. You want a gun control? Bitch, you got it.
Yeah, enjoy
Now,
it.
Eat a Peter.
But honestly, I got to say, if you're even worried about your preps, then you're probably further ahead than most. I mean, I still meet people all the time. They're like, be fine. Don't worry about it. I got enough food for tomorrow. It's good.
Yeah, no.
That's a little bit.
And
I mean,
I'm buying things.
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Kelly.
I said I was also telling Ian I'm buying things like this stuff too. Like just in this.
What is
the,
it? Not
the
everybody
new-
can see.
New Boost. So it's electrolytes in tablet form too. You can throw them in your water. Things like this. Energy shots.
So we're gonna have nothing to talk about next week if we talk about it all this week, right? We're supposed to do a
What?
quick one topic, 30 minutes. And
Well, this
then
is all food and stuff that we should be prepping.
supplements is a whole other thing, and keeping your immune system up is a whole other topic.
Why don't we? I know what we
If
can
you
do.
guys can convince my wife to come on, she's a holistic nutritionist, and she'll talk your ear off.
Okay,
about
let's
supplements.
get her on,
Perfect.
and I
Let's get
also
her
want to
on.
get Gavin on too because I want to talk about what to do if shit hits the fan and trauma. So we should do that too.
Yes,
Trauma would be
Kelly.
neat.
Now you're
back. Yeah.
you're starting to get it. You're way ahead of Adriel, who wants to talk about guns.
Yeah.
Thursdays.
Yes, Thursdays.
My gun range is shut down locally here. I can't
I
even go to the
understand,
gun
Adriel.
range.
You'll be
over
okay.
there.
You'll be okay. This is the prepper version of Slamfire Radio, the regular Slamfire Radio gun stuff and politics and news, and that's Thursdays.
Okay.
You'll be all right, man.
I've already stuffed my mags. That's all the prepping I'm
There
gonna
you go.
do.
You screwed yourself out of
Yeah.
something to talk about on Thursday.
Oh well.
So, yes, you guys, Adriel, Ian, Kelly, you come up with ideas for these microcasts. Put them
For
in
our
the
viewers
notes.
as well.
Yeah, but definitely, like, I wanted to talk about supplements and nutrition during this time, and making sure you're getting your macros and your micros. And so, your wife is a nutritionist, Ian?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's definitely an upcoming episode. Maybe is she working from home right now?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay,
She's actually under self-isolation mandated by the government.
all right. So if you're not around, can she get the technology going to join us?
I will talk to her and see if I can get her on.
All right, cool. Okay, and as Kelly was saying, listeners, if there's something you want to hear about during these microcasts, please email the show at slamfireradio.com, and we'll work it in. We'll find an expert to come on and talk about it. Anything else, guys?
No.
But
Okay,
Adriel's
Adriel.
going. I love to talk about guns. Fine, I'm going home.
I got these
Oh.
these multivitamin gummies.
no,
yeah,
no,
there,
hang up
that's
on you.
food,
Those
right?
are really good.
you got time for a gratuitous self-promotion here?
Oh,
Yep.
my God,
Absolutely.
Ian. Sorry, I apologize.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Plug everything and anything.
Yeah, so tomorrow night, Canadian Prepper Podcast, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Facebook and YouTube, and we're going to be talking about spring planting so you can actually grow your own food when the grocery stores are closed.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, just a little bit before you leave, how much more traffic are you seeing?
We almost doubled in the last 2 weeks. And it also didn't hurt the fact that we had like a really big YouTube celebrity on board last week, Dr. Alton. He's Dr. Bones, he's also known as, and he's got his own channel. Anyway, so he helped bump up our numbers quite a bit, but also as a general trend, it's been going up like crazy, and a lot more private messaging going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually done 2 local consults recently, just guys that are really, really interested in getting going. And like I said, a lot more interest in a lot of aspects.
Nice.
Cool.
Excellent. All right, cool. Okay, very good, everybody. Let's, I'll get back to prepping.
Later.
Later.
Have a good night, everyone. See you in a couple of days.
So if you have any comments or questions for the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Now go grab a gun and shoot something.
When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.